Safety Committee for September. It's good to have each and every one of you here this evening. Glad to have some new commissioner with us this evening. Glad to be a part of this, and I think you're going to add so much more to what we're trying to do as we go about this. Be sure to ask your questions. That's what we're here for, to make public safety better for our citizens of Rutherford County. Before we begin, I'm going to ask that our secretary call the roll to make everybody aware who are commissioners, as well as we can determine our quorum. Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Beverly. Here. Commissioner McMurray.
Here.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yeah.
Commissioner James. Commissioner Rather.
Here.
Commissioner Oliver.
Present.
Commissioner Phillips.
Present.
Chairman Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. At this time, I'm going to ask for the approval of our minutes from our Vice Chairman, Michael Rather.
Thank you, Chairman Reed. I've reviewed the updated minutes from the August 22nd Public Safety meeting, find them to be in order, and move for their approval.
We have a motion made to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Sereno seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Our minutes have been approved. Our Vice Chairman has asked to make a statement this time, so I'm going to call on him to do so.
Thank you, Chairman Reed. We as commission, even in committees, we recognize a lot of people. And there's more coming. They'll always be there. I just want to take a few minutes to say Rachel Lehue had very large shoes to fill. Filled them extremely well. There's not one time, not one in the last going on 5 years, that she doesn't respond a whole lot quicker than I anticipated her to respond. Even when I text her at 7 o'clock in the morning, she calls me within a few minutes. And I think Rachel, I was thinking about this today, she's like glue. She holds everything together and does an exceptional job. And I just want to say thank you, Rachel, and I'm sure all of us will say the same thing. Thank you for what you do. I don't know how you do it, because you always have a smile on your face when you're doing it. So thank you.
Mayor Carr.
Thank you, Commissioner, for those remarks. For you that don't know, the mayor's office is literally working at half staff. Under normal circumstances, we have an individual in the mayor's office that processes the purchase orders. As you know, that position was vacated prior to September 1. We are going to fill that position October 3rd, but in the meantime, Ms. Lehue has filled in that capacity in addition to her own duties. And I might add, the mayor's office has also been without a deputy to the mayor or a chief of staff. So, and additionally, we have Rachel trying to train and educate a brand new Rutherford County mayor. So, Commissioner, you have no idea the wisdom of your words, because she has absolutely done a phenomenal job. So thank you for that recognition. She's certainly appreciated by the mayor and I'm sure the entire county commission. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mayor, and we do appreciate Rachel. And when you call in, you want to know if you want to talk to the lady who knows what's going on, or do you want to talk to the mayor? So that's that's pretty much it. That's it. But we do appreciate her hard work and what we're doing here. I don't know if you noticed just a while ago, she's the one who told me, said, Chairman, it's 5:30, and so that's how she looks after us chairman up here. Before we begin into our program this evening. I got some housekeeping rules that I want to start with. This is something new we've done. All you directors of different departments, when you come forward, directors and superintendents, when you come forward this evening, we ask that you introduce yourself and what department you're from. And this is for our new commissioners, so they can know who you are, where they can get to know you. As we go along through the next 4 years, I hope that they'll get to know you a whole lot better and where we are, plus also the individuals out here. But just to introduce yourself and as we're going. Also, it's been brought to our attention from people who are watching on television. Sometimes they can't hear you when you speak. And what's happening is we pick the microphone up, but we get to the point we're so involved the way we're talking, it goes like this. Now, a microphone is a lot like a spit tune. If you don't hit it, it don't work. And that's pretty much what you have here, plus these microphones we have here are somewhat omnidirectional. And when it walks away from your mouth right there, it cuts off. And that's why people are saying, hey, it stops and goes and stops and goes. It's got to be here. It's got to be in your mouth. So I'm just giving you a little heads up as we begin working with our business tonight that this is to keep also our citizens informed what we're talking about. And I know we get involved in this, we forget about this right here in our hand, but we got to have that to work with. It's a tool to keep everybody informed of what we're doing. So if I tell you, pick up your microphone, they can't hear you, because I know I've sat out there too, and I lay it down and I'll get going and I forget it's here, but we got to do that. We'll move with item 2, OSHA report. Mr. Elam. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ed Elam. I'm the Insurance and Risk Management Director for Rutherford County. I give the OSHA report, and I'll move right into it. On the first page, you will see an incident frequency for August 2022. We had a total of 24. On the accident frequency calendar year to date, there's 119. OSHA log summary, total recordables, there's 72. Restricted day claims, 39. Other recordables, 22. On the next page, you can see on-the-job injuries, and you can see compared to 2020, 104, 2021, 111, 2022, 119. On the job injury incurred dollars, year to date, 2020, you see 483, 2021, 439, 2022, 437,000. And then on the last page, cause of injuries, you'll see there was a total of 14 that was the Board of Ed, 10 that was County General, to a total 24. And on the County General, the Sheriff's Office had 4, EMS had 3, Correctional Work Center had 1, PAWS had 1, and Solid Waste had 1 for the total of 10. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
You've heard the report. Are there questions for Mr. Elam on the report? Not, do I have a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Rather.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Beverly. Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Report is approved.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Recovery Court report. Ricks.
Good evening. My name is Lachelle Ricks. I am the Recovery Court Director. Our report for August, we had 148 current participants. 6 new started in August. We had 2 graduates and 3 people were unsuccessful or terminated from our program. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Chairman.
Any questions on the?
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Commissioner Oliver?
Good evening. I do have a question. What constitutes the termination? What happens when they're terminated? Or why, I guess?
It really depends. It can be they violated one of our rules, or they can voluntarily withdraw from the program. Those all are considered terminations.
More questions? Not, do we have a motion?
I so moved to approve the report.
We have a motion. Commissioner Sereno,
Second.
have a second. Commissioner McMurray. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Report
Aye.
is approved. Just want to tell you, had a great graduation. A full room over there last week, I guess. Any of you that have the opportunity to attend the recovery court graduation, I urge you to do so. And several of you, I believe, were there. So, great program. Probation report.
Hi, my name is Kelly Haley. I'm the Assistant Director of our Probation Department. Typically, it would be our Director, Alyssa Phillips, who is here to give that our monthly report. She's out of the office, so I'm just filling in for her tonight. For the month of August, we had a total of 147 cases that were terminated from probation, which was the equivalent of 129 people. We supervised a total of 1,157 cases for our various classes, and they're all listed on their report, but we had a total of 67 participants. During the month, 30 of those successfully completed whatever program they were enrolled in. 2 were unsuccessfully discharged. With our Olive Branch program that we have at our department, we were able to help a total of 7 individuals this month. On the report, 3 of those were homeless, 4 of those were just clients that were having a rough patch that we were able to get some extra resources to for the month. For our financial statement for the month, we had a revenue of $16,900, a difference with our expenditures and revenue of $107,997. We submitted $8,980 to the clerks to be collected as part of a payment agreement. That brought that fiscal year total for that category to $17,064. We had a total of $8,163 that we were not able to send as part of a payment agreement, which brought that total to $14,123 for the current fiscal year. For the month, we supervised a total of 11 clients that the court had deemed indigent, and that would be our report for the month.
Any question? Commissioner
Mr.
Oliver.
Chairman. Good evening.
Good evening.
Are you still accepting food donations for your pantry?
Yes, ma'am. We actually had a drive during the month of August, and we received several large donations, one from Averett Trucking Company and one from World Outreach Church. So that really helped restock, but we will always accept. We have toiletries, non-perishable food, clothing, shoes. We have a pantry on the first and second floor of our building for both of those that our clients can utilize anytime they're in there.
Second question. And the address for donations, please?
We are in the 20 North building. And you're welcome to call anytime or give our number to anyone, and I'll be happy to help them coordinate that.
Any other questions? Have a motion to approve the report.
So moved.
Motion approved. Commissioner Beverly.
Second.
Second. Commissioner McMurray. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the report is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Correction Work Center. Superintendent Cope.
Good evening. Superintendent William Cope, Rutherford County Correctional Work Center. Chairman, after my report, I have one item also I'd like to discuss, if that's okay. Included in your packet is a copy of the minutes from our September Work Center meeting. Just a couple of points of interest that you'll find there is, in July, the Tennessee Department of Correction raised the daily board bill for housing state inmates. Daily reimbursement increased from $39 to $41 a day. Another thing that you'll see in there is that the Tennessee Corrections Institute is working toward their own accreditation program, which we'll be applying for. This accreditation they have developed in hopes to hold local county correctional facilities throughout the state of Tennessee to a higher standard, and it will also provide an additional $3 a day for any state inmates housed in the county facilities. Next, you'll see our work release program statistics. That is always going well. We've got an average of about 17 people involved in that currently. Our yearly activity report is next. Population is rising a little bit as we expected after the pandemic. Next, you'll see the collection of trash that we have collected over the past month. County roads, county trash collected 19,370 pounds. And then on state routes, 474 bags were collected. Also, the next page you'll find August 2022 worker report. This past month we saved $83,484 using inmate labor. Next, you'll find that I have put this in extra just so that it will give you all that are new commissioners kind of an idea of what we do. First is an organizational chart for our work center, and the second is just a brief overview of a little bit about what we do there and what we're about, facility demographics, the description, and description of classification and work programs. I would like to invite all of you to come by the Work Center whenever you get an opportunity so you can see some of the rehabilitative efforts that we're putting toward the inmates that we have in our facility that are going back out into the general public. These are not people that are going away forever. They're not throwaway people. They're the ones that are shopping next to us at Kroger, and their kids are playing with our kids in the ball fields, and that's where I'm heading in about 10 minutes. But would invite you to come by. We had an outdoor concert within the last month. It was a faith-based concert, and before the concert was over, we had 14 people that were baptized right there on our front lawn. So it's an interesting place and doing interesting things where it comes to rehabilitation. And that is the end of my report.
Questions from Superintendent Cope on the report?
Mr. Chairman, just one. Your organizational chart looks pretty good. Who do you report to?
I report to our board and then you all.
I have a question. In regards to the organizational chart, is every position filled?
We have two lines, I think two line officer positions currently that are going through the process. When I say going through the process, in order to work in corrections, you have to pass a mental health evaluation. So there's a lot of things that take a little time to be able to hire someone. So they're going through the onboarding currently.
Other questions? Not, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept this report.
Have a motion, Commissioner Oliver. Have a second. Have a second, Commissioner Radler. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the report is approved.
And I have one more item, Chairman. If you look back in our meeting minutes from this past month, there's some discussion about approval from our board, and we also have the blessing from HR and the mayor's office. I would like to ask for approval to reclassify one of our employees from Administrative Assistant 2 to Administrative Supervisor 1. The difference in her salary would be $6,900 a year, and that'll be absorbed by our unused salary line.
Any questions on this approval? Chairman.
Just a brief description of additional responsibilities. What are they doing?
Well, and the additional responsibilities have come over the years. It's been something that's kind of compounded, but Diane Chapman, who is our admin assistant who does all of our billing and all of basically the brains behind our facility. Over the years, we've taken on a lot more purchasing responsibilities, including grant, and she has not had a reclassification since she came to work for us, so that's the reason we want to do that.
Recommended and approved by your board?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, question. Where is that in your report? Where did you refer us to in your report?
It's actually in the minutes of the meeting, of our meeting. You'll see a discussion. We actually brought it up last month, but HR suggested that we wait until the new commission came on and the new mayor came on. Should be under E, other business, and it'll be the second paragraph.
Sir, thank you.
And our HR director is here tonight if you have any other questions. Hi, Sonia.
Mayor Carr.
So we have an essential employee in Mr. Cope's office that serves a very valuable service that quite honestly has been serving in this capacity for quite some time. So this is an effort, in my opinion, that's overdue. And he's just going through the proper procedure and protocol to get approval from this body to move it forward. He's correct when he says he has the mayor's approval in this regard.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion we approve his recommendation.
Second.
Commissioner Beverly makes the motion, second by Commissioner Oliver. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner McMurray,
Aye.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate what y'all do. Juvenile detention. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Duke, and I am the director of the Rutherford County Juvenile Detention Center. In front of you, you have our monthly report for August 2022. The first page is a yearly activity report with multiple items listed. At the bottom of this page, you will also see the amount of money that we billed for the month and what we have received. We usually do have information as to which counties we have not received bills from yet. And I apologize, we don't have this on this particular report. We had a employee that was out at the time, and we were able to get that information, but I will have it next month. Generally, what happens is this meeting comes before the checks arrive in the mail. So it's not anything that has been a problem, but if you have any questions about that report or that page, I'll be happy to answer them. The second page is the charges divided between between young people who were detained in our facility versus those that came in, received a court date, and were released, broken down by agency and/or county. And then we'll have STD stats. We participate in a free program from the local health department where young people over the age of 14 can voluntarily submit to a chlamydia and gonorrhea test, and if they test positive, they are treated anonymously if they are still with us, and if they have returned home, then the health department will work with the local school system to get the medicine that they need depending upon their results. And then lastly, we have information from our education program and our supplemental education program about what they've done with the young people during the month of August. So, that being said, if you have any specific questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Mr. Chairman, is there any contact tracing when it comes to the STD?
What our department does is, the short answer is yes, there is. The health department takes care of that, and they do that via self-reported information from the young people.
Ms. Duke, I noticed that the bid numbers have increased. Is that normal for right now, or?
As always, everybody always wants to believe that there's some good reason why our population goes up and down, and honestly, I can say potentially it was good weather, but beyond that, it's just when law enforcement gets lucky and is able to apprehend those that they're looking for, or if there are more petitions filed from parents or school resource officers.
Other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Oliver to approve.
Second.
Second, Commissioner McMurray. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Report is approved.
If I could have just a second to say one thing. We have the Juvenile Detention Center board meeting has been scheduled for October 10th of this year, and I have had to borrow some space from an area that was once used by the Community Learning Center that is within our facility. And I need to thank and would like to publicly acknowledge the help that the Correctional Work Center has given us. Superintendent Cope and Lieutenant Peralta made themselves available to come over, helped us with some renovation, some needed renovation in that area. And without them, we would not have had a decent space to have this board meeting, and I can't thank them enough for what they did to get us a little closer to having an area where that board meeting could be held, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for that information.
Before you leave, Ms. Duke, one thing, Correctional Work Center gave us an organizational chart. Do you have one?
Yes, I do.
Could you make that available to us?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Public Safety Director report. Director Clark.
Chairman, Mayor, Committee. My name is Chris Clark. I'm the Public Safety Director, EMA Director for our county, and welcome to Public Safety Committee. In front of you, hopefully you've received our report from August 16th to September the 19th. In our report is, we don't provide a whole lot of numbers, however we do provide days of incidents such as response or what projects we're working on. Currently, we're working on several projects and moving forward, and we are very grateful for our approved budget this year where we can make some improvements with our communications center, our emergency operations center, and then last but not least, our public safety centers that are located in Rockville and Kittrell, and hopefully around our county. Some of the things that I'd like to point out is that currently we are remodeling our communications center. They're in the backup center on Fortress Boulevard that is working beautifully. We made that transition last Monday, and hopefully they will return October the 3rd. We're working with Coffee County, Bedford County, and the state to provide a generator that was on Lynch Hill. A little bit of history was that we purchased that tower for our radio system many years ago. It was an old tower by AT&T, which had an older generator and is probably dated older than I am. It had to be replaced because it eventually saw its life. And so over the last year and a half, we've been working with some stakeholders such as Bedford County, Coffee County that has equipment up there, and we're going to split the cost of that generator for Rutherford County, Coffee, Bedford, and the state. We've taken delivery. It's on the lot in Laverne, and hopefully once all the parts get here, installing a switch for the generator, we can proceed with the installation. Also, we have other projects going on, such as APCO and Telecom, which is a software that will help our dispatchers. Usually when they're given CPR over the phone, they have cue cards. This computer software will have that on their computer. Our EMS and fire can see them on their CAD, the questions that they're asking. So that's coming. Also, take note that our communications center fielded 6,563 calls, with 1,400 of them being 911 calls. And then, as you can see, our fire and EMS responded to 2,900 calls this last month. And on the back page, you can see the projects that we are currently working on, and so that you can see basically our priorities at this point. I'm glad to announce that over the last year and a half, we reported a lot on COVID. I think we're kind of in a valley at this point. We do predict, and looking at trends, that we will probably pick back up as the seasons change. It appears to be more seasonal now than it does anything. So, and that's my report.
Questions on the director's report? I do know he appeared before the PBA the other night and got us a color for all of our public safety buildings.
We'll blame that on Bart Klein.
It's amazing that what all we went through in public safety, and we had to have discussion over the color of what the building's going to be.
That ended up being a hot topic.
Any questions anyone may have? A busy department. Hear a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Beverly moves to approve the
Second.
report. Second, Commissioner Sereno. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Report is approved.
Chairman, the radio system coordinator is not present. Do you want for me to
Let's go ahead.
elaborate? So several years ago, the county was approved a digital radio system, an 800, that is with Murfreesboro City. We went in together and purchased this system. And we are still in the, I'd say, toward the end of the phase, but we have not completed that project. So you'll continue to hear several things that will relate to the radio project. With that being said, we are continuing to, at the request of Commissioner P., to make sure that our schools, that we can still talk in those. Even though the project is not completely done, we are going in there and surveying those schools to make sure that they can talk. The system is still not at full capacity as far as build out. However, we are making those checks. And then we spoke about that generator. But my phone is always on. Feel free to call me, come by the office, visit, have coffee. I buy my own coffee, so I'll share. But please feel free to call and ask any questions that you may have.
Any questions on radios?
Just, Director Clark, to reaffirm, even though we're not finished with the radio system, I want to reaffirm, I think the last question I had for you the last month or two, if there's an issue in any of our schools, the communications there, to the extent that law enforcement and everybody else will rain down on those schools. Is that correct?
That's correct.
There's a comfort level there knowing, regardless of the whole job being complete, we're at that point to where our kids are safe and the school staff are safe.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ambulance report. Director Gaither.
I'm Brian Gaither. I'm the director of Rutherford County EMS. For the month of August, we did 3,461 911 calls, 37 inter-facility transfers. Average response time was 7.6. Had 79 DOAs for the month. 29 of those went for autopsies. The cost of those autopsies was $56,840. We collected $661,276, and that's still a little low. I can tell you that next month will be better. The delay in the Medicare money has worked itself out, so hopefully those numbers will get back to normal. The mileage for the month is on there, and then a couple of training sessions we had. The convalescent division did 434 calls. They collected 85,562. They're also suffering from the same problem with the ambulance license and the Medicare fees getting paid, and that's been fixed also. And then a couple of thank you notes that we received through the month. One that I'd like to draw attention to is one on the back. He's a paramedic that works for a local hospital. Went into cardiac arrest. Murfreesboro Fire and our guys were there quickly, resuscitated him. He made a complete recovery, and he's back at work. So, and you can see on there, you can probably tell by reading that where he works. And then that's my report.
Questions on the report?
I don't really have a question, more of a comment or a commendation. Earlier today, I worked with 2 members of your department, and I just want to commend their leadership and also them on their anticipation of needs. At this time of day, every truck in the northern part of the county was on a call. We were over off Florence Road, and the Blackman truck had to respond Luckily, they were able to respond quickly enough because your department had the forethought to go ahead and remove them from the station and move them to the north end of the county to anticipate those needs. So we thank you for that and just wanted to pass along that commendation.
Well, and I'd love to take credit for that, but actually Chris's department is the one that had the forethought to make that. But that's happening more and more on the north end, and we'll probably be discussing the north end of the county pretty regularly throughout the next 4 years.
Other statements or questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Rather moves to approve. We have a second over here, Commissioner Beverly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, report is approved.
I got a couple more things. If that's
Okay, sir.
Actually, 3. So the first one is the medical examiner's office received a grant back in October of 20 for some training for the medical examiner investigators. It was supposed to expire September 30th of 22. It's been extended to September 30th, 23. It's a no match grant, but it will continue to let them improve their education for the medical examiner investigators.
We have a motion to go ahead with that extension.
Make a motion.
Second.
A motion made by Commissioner McMurray to extend that extension, and second by Commissioner Oliver. All those in, well, let's call the roll on that one.
Commissioner Chirino,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, sir.
So the next thing, we were approved to hire 16 new paramedics starting January 1 to staff these new public safety and health buildings, Rockville and Kittrell. Rockville is going to be done the 1st of December, and it's going to take us a little while to get the people hired and trained to be ready to go in there. So I'd asked the mayor and finance director and Chairman Reed, Commissioner Beverly, just kind of my thoughts, and I want to move 8 of those people to hire November 1st and move the Kittrell people to March 1st. So it's basically moving some of them up 2 months and half of them up 2 months and the other half back 2 months. I feel like we probably have enough money in our paraprofessional line items to make it work without it starting the funding January 1st. But I think we need to be in that building as soon as it opens. And I think somebody would probably don't want that building sitting empty.
I think you.
No pressure.
I think you got 2 somebodies don't want any of us.
So roughly it'd cost us, if we hired topped out paramedics November 1st, it would cost us $104,000 roughly with benefits. We're not going to hire 8 topped out paramedics November 1st. We're probably half and half. So I would say somewhere around $75,000. And like I said, I think we already have that in our paraprofessional from unfilled positions up to this point.
Questions upon the request?
Mr. Chairman, is that budget in this report that he's referring to?
No, that's not, you don't have that in your report.
So those positions were supposed to begin being funded January 1st, all 16 of them. So I want to move 8 to November 1st and the other 8 to March 1st, because I think they were saying the other day Kittrell is May. before it's completed. And Rockville will be done December 14th.
And the budget will allow that? Is that what you're
Yes, ma'am.
saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Allow them time to get that training and be ready to go when those do go that direction. Questions?
I have one question. You had mentioned somewhat about your staffing levels. Those are still pretty solid. Shouldn't have any problem filling those.
We're short one, actually, we're not short. We just had somebody accept. So one, we were going to be full staffed on the 13th, and then we had one to resign on the 13th. But we've since filled that position, so, or in the process of it.
So with that in mind, you should have no problem making sure that this location's ready to go as soon as they cut the ribbon and staffed.
I'm hopeful. It's a whole lot better to have a 6 weeks buffer in there to get them hired and started, so we can go in there if it opens the 14th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Have a motion approved, Commissioner Beverly. Have a second, Commissioner Radler. Call the roll.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sherino,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, the last thing is, we budgeted to buy 2 new ambulances and to remount 2 ambulances. Everything has increased in price. The ambulances, the new ambulances have went up about $21,000, and the remounted ambulances have gone up $10,000 since we put them out for bid, or kind of tried to get pricing on it. We had a total of $568,500 in that line item. My recommendation, I think, of where we sit now is, instead of buying 4, if we could buy 3 new ones, which still fits within the budget, saves a little bit of money, not much, from off the 568, and we feel like we could probably get those quicker. The manufacturer for the new ones, we're hoping, has a quicker turnaround than having them remanufactured, because the chassis are difficult to come by. And we've looked at the mileage, and we think we'll be okay. And there's still, if we approve this and put it out, all the bid stuff's already done, but I mean, we still may not, it still may be 18 to 24 months before we see them. If we stuck to the 2 and 2, we're about $64,000 short as of today. I mean, those prices could change tomorrow.
Mayor?
So, Commission, Director Gaither has brought me this situation a couple of weeks ago, and the time to retrofit those 2 used units at best was going to be 12 months.
At best.
At best.
Yeah.
And there was a window of opportunity to take those same funds and get 3 units as opposed to 2 new units and 2 used units.
Yes, sir.
And so we've got a capacity issue that needs to be met sooner than later. And so if you're asking me where I stand on this, I support Director Gaither's initiative to move forward with 3 additional units at no change in the price.
Mr. Chairman, for those who are unfamiliar, including myself, what is the retrofitting or the remanufacturing process?
So basically, they take the box off of the old chassis and rework it. They repaint it. They check the structural integrity of it. They put a new floor in it. They put new upholstery in the back. So it's basically, if you were to see one, most people wouldn't realize that it was a box that had already been used. So the old box comes off, goes on a new truck. And when we first started that, it used to save us it used to be about half, but not the case anymore.
Okay.
If I may, there are two components to this that are complicating the issue with regards to the retrofit. There's the time that we're waiting to get the retrofitted boxes in, and then there's the labor backlog once they come in and when that comes in to get them actually retrofitted. So we're dealing with two different issues here with regard to the retrofit that's complicating the issue.
So we had two of those approved in the 21 budget, and we just dropped the second one off last week to start on it.
So it sounds like not only if we move to the new trucks, it saves, we can get 3, we come in under budget, but it also, referencing my earlier comment of all the trucks on the north end being tied up, it could help us out on that avenue as well,
Right.
Correct?
And we're taking a chance on going with 3 instead of 4 because some of these trucks we're putting almost 5,000 miles a month on, but I think we think that we will probably get the 3 new ones quicker than if we did 2 and 2. But we don't know that for sure.
Mr. Chairman. Question. And so you're saying you're still, even with this, you're still looking at 12 months before you get the trucks? Is that what you're saying?
It's possible it could be 12 months. Since we are an existing customer, we may go above somebody that is not, or a first-time buyer, and the chassis that we buy are a little easier to get than some of the other ones. So it's kind of a, you don't know, but the quicker we get our name in the hat, the better off we are.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the recommendation.
Second.
Mr. Oliver makes the motion. Commissioner McMurray seconds. Beverly? It echoes through here. Do you know them? Further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Oliver?
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly?
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Rather?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. One other thing, I normally do not talk this long at all. This is probably the longest I've ever been up here. But the state asked for a strike team of ambulances to head to Florida today. So we did send a crew. They left out about 4:30 this afternoon. So one from Rutherford, but a total of 12 from the Middle Tennessee. And last we heard, they were headed to Pensacola. That could change by the time they get there. But if you would, just keep those people in your thoughts and prayers over the next couple of days. Thank you.
Okay. Tell you what, Director, your one more thing sounds like last time I went to the dentist. I tell you. All right, Fire and Rescue Report. Chief Farley.
Good evening. My name is Larry Farley. I'm the Rutherford County Fire Chief over Rutherford County Fire Rescue. We also work in conjunction with and alongside 4 independent 501(c) volunteer fire departments, and plus Eagleville is still semi-volunteer, but they consider themselves a municipality, but we do work with them also. First page is a monthly report for the month of August. We ran 2 structure fires, 329 medical calls, 61 MVAs, 25 of those were with injuries, 36 were without. We had 2 vehicle extrications for a total call volume of 603 calls. To kind of give you a year-to-date, so far this year we've had 45 structure fires, 46 vehicle fires. We've ran 2,508 medical calls. We've had 486 MVAs, 223 were with injuries, 269 were without, for a call volume, for total call volume for 4,725 calls. The next page shows a year-to-date, and including all the volunteer fire departments and what their call volume is. Total number is 74 structure fires, 94 brush fires. We're having a problem with illegal burning in the county, 75 of those, 88 vehicle fires, 859 MVAs. And of course, with the population, that has really gone up in the last couple of years. We've had 22 MVAs with extrication for a total call volume countywide of 5,870 calls. And out to the right, it shows each department's training hours. Next page is what we turn into, excuse me, we turn into the Rutherford County Codes Department. And those are the structures that had considerable damage. They would need to be get permits and stuff, so the codes are giving a record of that. The next 2 pages covers all of our apparatus through the fire department. The first line item shows you what we spent on maintenance so far year to date, and then fuel spent. This is, I think this runs from I don't think this is, this January to December. Shows the fuel spent, the quality of fuel, the quantity of fuel, the mileage, starting mileage on the vehicle, ending mileage on that vehicle, and total mileage that we ran so far, and then how much it costs per mile to operate that unit for fuel. Also, we are an all hazards department. We have a special operations team, so we run structure fires, vehicle fires, motor vehicle accidents, cave rescue, swift water rescue, collapse, hazmat, you name it. We pretty much answered all of it. The last page is our fire marshal's report, where every structure fire that we have, he does a thorough investigation on them and determines what the cause of that fire was. And then the last thing is Josh Sanders, our fire marshal, has met with the ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms federal agency, and they have asked him to be part of their task force, which is a big honor for him and for us that he be recognized. What this will do is he will help them do some investigations in Middle Tennessee, and plus when we have anything in Rutherford County, it brings that task force to us, so it'd be beneficial to us too. And that pretty much concludes my report, but I have one other issue. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the chief? Or we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
I second.
Motion made to approve. Commissioner McMurray, second. Commissioner Oliver. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
To give you a little background, the county fire department was created in 2010. Before that time, there was 11 volunteer fire departments. Since that time, a lot of them have come up around the county. But at that time, there was an organization called the Rutherford County Fire Chiefs Association, and each department give $100 per year as a membership fee. Well, after the county fire departments started, that kind of went by the wayside and kind of dispersed. They let the charter close out in their 513C. But I was notified about a month ago, the gentleman who was president of the association at that time, they still had a bank account that was just sitting dormant, and it was starting to take money out of it. I went and picked that check up last Friday. It was a total of $3,088. I'm going to try to run that through our finance department, and when that goes to the budget and everything, then what I'm going to do is, because those dues were paid by the volunteer fire departments, I want to cut each check for the 4 volunteer fire departments. I'm going to split that 4 ways and give that money back to them. So I just want to kind of keep you appraised of what I'm doing there. I think it's the volunteers paid for it, and I think it'll go back to Kittrell, Lascass, Downville, and Christiana. And I think that's all I'm supposed to bring up. Any questions?
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sheriff's Office. You have a report and a budget. Yes. Okay.
Good afternoon. As of this afternoon, our inmate population is 670 inmates. Give you some updates. We had a laundry room destroyed by a fire. We've been waiting on our washer and dryer since the 1st of August. They got held up on shipment. They're supposed to be in last week. They're stuck on rail, so we're hoping the next couple of weeks we'll get that project completed. The staff elevator, they have started the process on that, so hopefully we'll be getting that moving pretty good. They said the start to finish to be 3 months for completion. We started working on our remodeling of the booking room area, utilizing our SCAP funds received from a grant. That's my report.
Questions on the report? Plus you have some other information, I believe, that's on your iPad, plus you have received other reports as well. Any questions on the report? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
My apologies, Mr. Chairman, I do have a question.
Okay, we have a question.
Yes, sir. Because as you mentioned, there's some other things in our report, so I was curious, is this something that we're supposed to be voting on as well? The additional items that we have, in particular, requesting a reclassification.
You have some amendments, but we'll do those after the report is
Thank
approved.
you.
They come up separately.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's usually our process. We'll let the director do his report, and then after the report, we go into the amendments. That helps, I think, to stop some of the confusion, whatever, give you more opportunity to digest what we're talking about. Thank you for asking the question. All right, do we have, Mr.
Chief
Chairman?
Spence, hiring update.
Yes, sir. We've got 10 in the hiring process for detention, and we've got several that's going to be starting in a couple of weeks for patrol and one for SROs. 4 new dispatchers are coming on board.
So we're making progress?
Yes, yes, sir.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right now, the psychologicals is holding us up on a lot of the hiring. Yes.
Sheriff?
I want to add, this might fit you, Sheriff, and add a little bit more. We've got, in law enforcement, we've got 41 vacancies. 13 are in the process of being filled right now, so we've got 28 that we're still looking for. In detention, we've got 41 vacancies, and 10 are in the process of being filled at this time. One of the problems that we had is we had, most of our positions require psychological, and we had gotten down to only one agency that was doing that, and it was delaying our psychologicals. What happens is when we make an offer, we've got to do a psychological, and we also have to do medical. Well, getting the psychological was taking so long, we were losing the people because they were going to other places and getting hired. Since then, working with Sonia, she's got 3 different agencies that are doing psychologicals now, and I gave her the name of a 4th that she's checking out now. So we should hopefully, by the end of the month or first part of October, have 4 different agencies doing psychologicals, trying to speed that process up. So kind of give you a little more information on that.
Sorry. You good? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, quick question in regards to the SROs. Are they all filled, or are we still trying to fill those? I'm sorry if I missed it already.
We've got 9 positions open with SROs, 1 starting next month. And on the schools, we have supervisors covering the open schools. Some SROs are sharing those responsibilities, and we have patrol on hand that goes by in their zones and check on the schools. Also, we have a benefit of Tennessee Highway Patrol. It's helping the state of Tennessee with their local schools. They go by and help patrol the schools during the days.
If I can, I'll keep butting in here, but add something on the SROs of what a lot of people don't understand. Patrol officers are not trained SROs. And an SRO is a certified police officer, and a feeder pool has come out of patrol going to that. Of course, obviously, they go to school for SRO. They've got to have 2 years' experience as patrol officer or a certified officer before they can go into an SRO program. So a lot of people think we can just pull somebody off the street and put them in a school, but they're not trained. It just takes a special training for that. We are augmenting. We've got our patrol officers that are going by the schools, trying to augment where there is someone not there at that particular time. And then plus THP is also working with us, going to the schools and doing walkthroughs, and then they're also checking doors and things of that nature. So that's how we're trying to augment it right now.
Thank you.
Okay, we believe we're still looking for a motion to approve the report.
I so move to approve the report.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Sereno. Need a second. Second, Commissioner McMurray. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the report is approved.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask one follow-up question?
You may.
Health and Ed will be meeting tomorrow night, and the expansion of our high schools, 5 high schools, will probably come up, and where we are in that process. Have you guys been included in the drawings and the architectural part of that process from a security perspective?
No, sir.
I've got a little bit of a heartburn about that, and maybe I need to talk to Health and Ed tomorrow night about that. There are a couple of situations that are really unacceptable, and I'm pretty sure that you know where they are and what they are, but I'm just dumbfounded that you guys haven't been included in that, just to some degree.
That's something we have asked for in the past, to be included on planning and whatnot on schools. We keep asking, but we've not been included. Sometimes, from a safety standpoint, our SROs can make recommendations based on experiences at other schools on either design or traffic layout or layout on how ingress and egress in a school situation. So I think it would be a plus if they could be included.
I think you have some budget amendments?
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to apologize. I didn't introduce myself. I'm Steve Spence, the Administration Deputy Chief with the Sheriff's Office. The first amendment is out of the drug fund, requesting funds from the drug fund balance to $37,500 from the restricted public safety fund, placing $20,000 to vehicle maintenance and repair, $2,500 in other charges, and $15,000 in their data processing line item. And this is all within the drug fund.
Have you found that amendment? Any question on the budget amendment? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Beverly. Second. Commissioner Oliver, call the roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
The second one we request is reclassify a corporal's position to a sergeant's position. We want to take $10,126 from our other salaries and wages and place it in our sergeant's line item. This corporal does a lot of work. He's our equipment guy, uniforms, armor. He saves us a lot of money on working on our weapons. He's licensed, and he's also a firearms instructor.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Rather.
Second.
Second, Commissioner McMurray. Discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Beverly, Commissioner Sherino,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one more question. Since there are so many new commissioners on here, would it be possible for us to do a ride-along with your patrol division?
Yes, sir. Sure will be. Get with me, and I can get it set up for you.
Excellent. We'd appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you all for taking interest in One Ride.
And anybody that hasn't, the invitation's always open to come to the sheriff's office. We'd love to give you a tour, and we'll let you see it from the inside and the outside. And we promise we will let you back out. So,
They did let me out.
Thank you, gentlemen. Pause. Director Gregory.
Hi, my name is Michael Gregory. I'm the Director of Rutherford County PAWS Animal Control. Tonight you have your report before you for August. We had 469 animals enter into the shelter. You can see the breakdown of the jurisdictions there. We had 458 animals that left the shelter, 82.8% adoption reclaim percentage, and a 3.5% euthanasia percentage. When you look overall at our live release rate, our dogs were 91.8%, our cats were 96.4%, and overall, when wildlife were included, a 93.7% live release rate. 195 animals that were reclaimed were through our free surgery program, and 45 cats were released through our TNR program. You can see that we had over 1,500 people visit the shelter during the month, and we had over 2,600 calls to the office. 1,594 calls were entered for our officers, and you can see the breakdown of the jurisdictions there. And they traveled 10,383 miles for the month. Fiscal year to date, we've had a live release rate of 91.9%. Our officers have completed out 2,915 calls, and they've traveled 19,438 miles. The next part of your report is our rabies exposure and bite report. Whereas the monthly report goes by fiscal year, the rabies exposure and bite goes by calendar year. So for the month of August, we had 52 bites were reported. 2 of those were sent for rabies testing. Neither came back positive. You can see we had 2 other exposures. 1 of those was sent for testing, and it did come back positive. You can see down around the middle of the page the positive rabies detail. The animal that was returned as considered a positive was returned unsatisfactory. They were unable to test it based on decomposition, but it is considered, you treated it as a positive even though it was unsatisfactory. The last page of the report is just a graph that I give you all. That way you can visually see our live release rate versus our euthanasia rate and our other outcomes for the month. I'll be happy to entertain any questions that you have.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Commissioner Beverly, have a second.
Second.
Commissioner McMurray. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The report is approved.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
One follow-up, if I could, Michael. Hiring process, where do you stand there?
Up and down, up and down. How's that? We were very close to, we had 3 positions vacant 2 weeks ago. We had 3 resignations within the span of 1 week, which was last week. I've been able to get some of those positions filled, but it goes back to what we've been talking about for several months. As with any officer position, when you fill those, it's going to be several months before they're trained and on their own. So it's set us back close to where we were when we were at the height of what I would kind of call the crisis. We're back there basically again, but we do have folks in all those training spots, but it's getting them trained, and that takes quite some time. The only good thing is we're almost back to that crisis mode with officers, but as far as in-house positions, which are folks that man the desk, the adoption and reclaim desk, and our kennel attendants, knock on wood, we're fully staffed with those right now. So it's the officer positions where we're really struggling. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. That's all of the agenda. Other business? Not, we are adjourned.